What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope that you guys are having a wonderful weekend. I'm definitely looking forward to the extra hour that we are going to gain in regards to, daylight savings time coming to an end. I do hate the fact that it gets early, gets dark so early, but I'm here for the extra hour of sleep. Moving on to Huda and Louis. Now, I didn't even really watch Love Island like that. I saw clips online. But baby, when I tell you it is the gift that keeps on giving because Olandria is out in these streets and she is gagging. Okay, all the girls. I don't know if y'all saw that picture with her, those sunglasses around her snatched waist, but Olandria is the it girl, right? And because she is that it girl, I feel like there is, this continuous target on her back. Nevertheless, her and Shelly talking about how difficult it was being the only two black women on that show and, just the racism that they were just inundated with. Well, here we are in the year of our Lord, November 2025. This happened just recently at the end of October. But somebody calls Huda's phone, and there's her boyfriend Lewis, who's biracial. He's from the UK. But baby, when I tell you these people were laughing about somebody calling in um, and calling Olandria the N word, and so Huda and her boyfriend take it upon themselves to find it funny. There's nothing funny about that word. Again, this is 2025, and for a myriad of reasons that I'm not even going to go into right now. I feel like so many people have been emboldened to just be racist and anti-black out loud. You know what I mean? It used to be a time a few years ago, at least in the year 2020, where people would have, at least kept it to themselves. Um, Not to say that it wasn't always there, because anti-blackness is so just pervasive and like salient throughout the fabric of our culture, especially in the US. It's ridiculous. And I feel like Huda and other people, Lewis, again, that are not necessarily, I know he's not from the US. And I think her parents are immigrants as well, but people have this buy-in to, anti-blackness as if that's going to make them assimilate faster to US culture. Is disgusting because I am a person who, my grandparents are from the US. I'm American through and through. There's a lot wrong with this country. But the anti Blackness definitely is something that needs to be addressed and dealt with. And Olandria and, her boo Nick did. They both made statements. So I'm going to read those to you, but let you guys hear exactly what I'm talking about with Huda and Lewis on this phone call. Hello? Whoa, hey, hey. Yo, I turned that shit on. Hey. Yo, what the fuck? What did they say? She knows exactly what they said, otherwise she wouldn't have busted out laughing. If you don't know what somebody says, you ask for clarification first before you start laughing. And for him to say, hey, no, there was no denial. There was no telling that person, that's not cool. You could have just hung up. You know what I mean? But instead, they busted out like it was the funniest punchline they'd ever heard. This is not, Dave Chappelle or Kevin Hart or whatever comedian, Cat Williams on the stage. No, there was nothing funny about racism, about calling somebody the hard R. So Landria wrote on IG, she says, I do not condone racism of any kind, nor do I entertain it. That kind of language is never acceptable, not in anger, not as a joke, not ever. Words like that carry generations of pain, and pretending otherwise only keeps the cycle going. Defending it, laughing about it, or making excuses is even worse. I will not let this moment derail my purpose of uplifting my community. I'm standing firm in who I am and using this as an opportunity to call for real accountability and awareness. We all have a role in building a culture where speaking to one another with respect is the standard. and where speaking against hate speech is the bare minimum. While I anticipate this will result in surface level apologies, come on, surface level, because we already know what the game is, that fade in a few days, I'd like to transform this moment into something actionable. I encourage those who have participated in the stream and their followers to demonstrate a genuine commitment to anti racism by donating to organizations and foundations dedicated to educating and uplifting this community, such as the UNCF, which is the United Negro College Fund, the NAACP, and or the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. I will be making a personal donation as well. In the next slides, I will be sharing donation links to contribute in support of HBCUs and underfunded educational resources for Black students. Classy. Olandria has always been the epitome of class. And I just feel like ever since she got with Nick, people really have been just hating from outside the club. Because, like I said, I didn't really watch the show like that. But from what I heard in the clips that I've seen, Miss Huda, on the other hand, was trying to coerce not one, but two of her castmates, both Black men, into sleeping with her. I think that they were intimate on the show, which is yikes on bikes. That's just an ick in and of itself. I mean, people in movies don't do that in real life. They have, intimate coordinators and all of that, but nobody has, you know, they actually go through with the intimate acts while on camera, unless you're getting paid for it, right? Like, unless that's your profession, okay? But she was not there for that. That wasn't, this wasn't Hugh Hefner's set, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was just there for Love Island. Nobody else was getting in like that except for her. And she walked away with no man, no, you know what I'm saying, empty handed. And so it just gives really bitter and jealous hating from outside the club, because Olandria transformed into an it girl. She got all kind of brand deals, you know what I mean? She's making appearances. She's doing big things since she's transitioned from that show. And Huda essentially is not. Okay, she's still peddling in the same racist stereotypes. And you know what else it is? Because I've seen a lot of like Halloween costumes that featured blackface this year. It's so tired and worn out. Like, I mean, do people ever get tired of recreating the exact same old racist tropes? Like, it's just stale, and it's so whack. Like, it's just so lame to me that, you know, again, this is 2025. We're almost 2026. You know what I mean? Like, is it not time to move on and progress from, to something else? I feel like the United States, as you know, we have the potential to be so much more advanced as a country than we are. When I look at, like Japan and, the Scandinavian countries, you know what I mean? Like, they invest in their populace. They have like free, college, and, just all these different incentives, right, to help their constituents and their population. Whereas the U.S., we have a president who's making AI videos with him having a crown on his head, literally pooping on the American people. And I feel like I just like it's so juvenile and it's so immature. That's why I'm laughing, because I'm just like, we're stuck in this, like, you know, rebellious teenager phase, that because America's, not that old of a country. Again, Japan and other and even European countries that I named, they're a lot older than we are. But I'm like, at what point do we grow up? At what point do we mature? At what point do we advance past just like old racist tropes and, recycling the exact same thing? And I'm asking, as for the general population, because if people wanted to advance and, and go forward, I feel like they would not have one, put Trump back in office, right? His whole campaign slogan was "Make America Great Again." Like he, wants to bring back like coal mining and just, he's deregulating every protection and every public service that we have, from the food. Not even talking about SNAP. I made a whole other video about that, but just the food regulations, the air regulations, the environmental protections. RFK Jr. is talking about Tylenol and autism, and he has no idea what he's talking about. He admittedly has a whole brain worm and, has done extremely hard, illegal substances. So please don't follow him for medical advice. But, um, we have the Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, writing a tweet that's still up there, by the way. She says, trick or treat. The trick is um, the unions, the teachers' unions, and the treat is literally dismantling the Department of Education. Like that's her whole goal. I feel like this whole administration's goal is to undermine everything that the previous presidents like Obama and Joe Biden have put into place to help the American people. And so I feel like Huda and, Louis and other people who have that ideology, like they just want to tear down things that other people are trying to build. And it's sad, and it's pathetic. And I mean it's a representation of where a lot of people's mindsets are, you know, but at some point you gotta grow up and move forward. Or you know what, or not. I mean, staying stagnant and complacent is a choice. It's an unfortunate one, but people do it every day. So you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.